So you don't charm the devil with your rock and roll, Lord knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil finds his groove in them rhythm and blues that sound. It's gonna get you sun in the air.
Welcome back to the Speakeasy. I'm Souther Teague.
And I'm Greg Benson, and I am back from my travels.
Yeah, buddy.
It's been a minute. I've been to Georgia, Texas, Georgia again, and then Arizona. Visited some really cool people, saw some cool stuff. Very excited to be home.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Always good to get back to your own bed.
Amen, man. And also, like, this is my favorite time of year to be in New York, and I hear it's going to be beautiful any day now.
Yeah. We keep getting teased. Flashbacks to winter. We had a little bit of a frost earlier this week, but the rest of the week's looking pretty good.
Well, it was 92 degrees when I saw that. It was one of those things where I was kind of like, you know, sitting in the shade, avoiding the sun, sipping a Mai Tai, looking at everyone's Instagram stories about the snowfall, and I was like, ooh, that looks like it sucks. Yeah. Can I get a refill? Yeah, thank you. Great.
Yeah, it did suck. But the weather's looking nice for this Saturday, where I'm going to be making some drinks for the Bike Plant, which is my local bike shop here in my neighborhood, Bed-Stuy. And, I got Misguided Spirits sponsoring that. I'm going to make some cocktails using their whiskey, their tequila, and their vodka for a bunch of bicyclists. And the Bike Plant's great. They raise money each year in their annual party for a bike repair fund, they call it. And it's so people in the neighborhood who can come in with their bikes, and if they're not in a great state of repair, they can get them fixed for free or at a discounted price if they can't afford it. So it's really awesome.
That's super cool. I love that, man.
And I think this is the perfect combination. Misguided Spirits is an exact fit for this sort of misfit kind of outfit. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a misfit. Speaking of
misfits,
I was going to say like bicyclists. I actually don't even know if this guy likes to bicycle or not. But we've got someone that I think is going to be very familiar to all of our guests here in the studio today. We have Colin Asare-Appiah, aka Cocktail Colin, aka Get Involved, bruv. What's going on, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Greetings and salutations, gents. How are you all?
Doing well. Okay, so are you a bicyclist? You give me bicyclist vibes, but I actually don't know this about you.
I really am. I do. I'm a cyclist.
I knew it.
Yeah, I have a little shopping basket in front of my bike, and I get out and about in the city. It's great.
You're so continental. Just buzzing around on your bicycle. I have a picture of it in my mind.
Exactly. I thought you would.
It's perfect.
And I can see it. I don't even have to stretch my imagination all that much.
Well, Colin, not unlike good Greg here, you travel a lot. And a lot of your travels recently have been to one particular place. Can you talk to me about what's going on in Africa?
Yes, I can. I have been spending the last few years actually developing a cocktail festival called Ajabu, which is a place for the bar and hospitality community from all around the world to connect, collaborate, and create. And it has actually really galvanized the Pan-African cocktail movement and also brought in all of our friends from all around the world to take part in it. And it happens in South Africa, and it's just the start in South Africa. It's in March and November every year. It started last March, and we had another session in November last year, and we just finished a session in March, and more to come.
Well, what are these sessions all about? You know, I follow your Instagram and your social media, and I get to see little snippets of things, but talk to us a little bit about what actually happens on the ground in Africa during the festival.
Yeah, during the festival, we've obviously education is foundational. So we have an education platform across all of our partners, our partner bars. And the idea is that Ajabu drives all of the communication, i.e. all of the education and all of our activities to bars. So we have educational pieces in the bars, and then we have pop-ups in the evenings. And it's really proved to be an amazing formula. What I find a lot of the times when I go to a lot of cocktail festivals is the Central A Hotel and Convention Center receives all the attention, receives all the love, receives all of the funding, and then the local bars just end up receiving just a little percentage of the activities. So we make sure that all of our education happens in the bars and all our pop-ups happen in the bars as well. Consumers, prosumers, and the industry come alike, and it has proved to be a really amazing and really worthwhile formula for us, and a good platform for us to showcase what our international bar partners bring in, along with what our local bar partners. We've managed to bring over some really interesting talent to South Africa at the moment. Eric Van Beek being one last November when he won Best Bar in the World. Him and his team, their first trip out of Mexico City was to come to Ajabu. So they did a tour with Patron Tequila. They came to Ghana. They came to South Africa to Ajabu, and then they went to Kenya, Nairobi.
Amazing.
And they popped up in Front Back in Ghana. They popped up in South Africa at Sin & Tax, and also in Cape Town at Cause Effect. Then they went on to Hero Bar in Nairobi in Kenya. And what we're noticing is, with all these great brand partners and bar partners that we have coming on the continent, it's providing a great platform and exposure that the continent really richly and rightly deserves. And it's really showing that there is a real growth and an appetite for more information, education, and collaboration across the continent. Eric was really inspired when he came, and he found some ingredients which he wanted to use in his new bar. It really inspired him, but unfortunately, it's only available in South Africa. So I told him he has to maybe smuggle some out of the country the next time.
I mean, that's the nature of, indigenous and local ingredients, and that's what makes bars all over the world special, right? Is that they can use things that are only local to them to create signature serves and things like that. Yeah. What inspired you to get involved, Bruv? With this whole situation.
As you know, I always like to get involved, right?
Yes.
And I'm a proud African. I was born in Ghana, and I've always wanted to do something in Ghana. When I opened the lab bar with Douglas, we opened London Academy of Bartending, which morphed into the lab bar with Douglas Sankra, our dear friend, God bless his soul, who passed away. He created the Porn Star Martini.
Mm-hmm.
Cape Town was the muse for the inspiration of the Porn Star Martini, even though he developed it when he was at Townhouse and the lab with us. But Cape Town was always the muse. We actually opened a lab bar in Cape Town in 2000. Yeah, 2000. And it was awesome to see how what we started in 2000 had morphed into where Cape Town is now as a cocktail destination. The bar scene is rivals some bar scenes all over. And what I wanted to do was ensure that we kept Douglas's name alive, firstly, because he was all about education. He was all about building a community and creating a Pan-African movement. And that inspired me to get involved, along with my dear friend and partner, Mr. Mark Holmes, who we created a vodka brand together and worked together for most of my adult professional career. And he's also very Afrocentric, and he wanted to come along for the journey. And both of us decided that, yes, it was the right time and a moment to start our cocktail festival. There have been cocktail festivals on the continent before. Laura Rara, who's on the Tales committee, has a cocktail festival, Lagos Cocktail Week, which has been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we really want to celebrate that. And then also the Nairobi Bar Show has been around for goodness knows how many years. And we thought, let's join in the party. And I really wanted to be involved and to bring all of the friends that I've made in the industry from around the world to South Africa, which is a gateway into all the other parts of the continent. And each country is so different. Yeah. And the idea is that one day we'll be able to move the November dates around the continent to ensure that everyone gets to shine. And with that, I think it will be really. I think it's in a perfect time for me to offer you, Souther, the opportunity to come to Ajabu in November if you
Well,
have
yeah,
the
I was
time.
looking through my email for my invitation. I didn't see it, so I'm glad I'm getting one in person.
It's so funny,
He wanted
Mark.
to hand deliver it. Wanted to
I
make sure.
know.
I
I
need a
know.
gilded
Mark and I were just talking
invitation.
about it.
Well, that's something I want to ask. Like, it's so, you know, Africa's humongous already. So even just getting there from anywhere else in Africa seems like a hurdle. And then, it's so far from here in America. It's closer to other places, obviously. But like, how do you encourage, all your friends? And I know you have many. You've been doing this for forever. How do you encourage us to get over there? Like, and also like, why has it taken so long for such a humongous place with so much, as we already mentioned, indigenous ingredients that work so well in cocktails? Why has it taken so long for this to materialize, do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to spend the next like 5 hours unpacking all of that, I'm ready to go. Just in a nutshell, there's always been that thought that if you go to Africa, you might get eaten by lions. I mean, it's something that Mark and I talk about often, and it makes us all laugh. It makes you laugh. It's the truth.
You're
There's
right.
always been this underrepresentation of what is possible on the continent until you actually get there, and there hasn't been a spotlight shone because of the fact that people always wanted to go, but they just didn't know how,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't have necessarily the vehicles to be able to do it. Now, I believe with things like Ajabu, with cocktail festivals like Ajabu, with the Côte d'Ivoire bar show, which is happening across French-speaking Africa, with Accra bar show that's happening, with the Nairobi bar show as well that's happening. These are all places and vehicles and spaces for people to be able to come to the continent. And then I think once everyone's come once, you're then hooked in. There are 54 countries on the continent, all with different languages, different topography, different landscapes, different ethnical uh, uh, peoples, different races of people, different religions, different
Yeah.
food, different flavors, and it's just it's just so vivacious and colorful. It's an amazing place and an exciting place right now. But to answer your question in a nutshell, I don't believe that people have really figured out how to make it happen. And also, there's been such a move and a trend in the past with bartenders around spirits. If you look at a lot of the cocktail trends, the movement of bartenders has been based around the trends of spirits. There was that American whiskey boom that is and was happening. Irish whiskey, Japanese whiskey. A ton of bartenders have been going to Japan, been going to Scotland and Ireland. Look at tequila. Tequila
Mm-hmm.
is a boom. That's all happened because a lot of bartenders have been going to Mexico, have brought back those indigenous spirits, and have had them as little bartender handshakes, as Dave Wondridge likes to say. And even if you look at the growth of vodka, started happening after Prohibition, when a lot of the famous American bartenders traveled all over Europe and came back with this spirit called vodka,
Mm-hmm.
which they shared with other bartenders, and it became a thing. So I really feel that now with the growth of festivals like Ajabu, with the growth of with our ability to be able to connect in interesting and unique ways. I think now we have the opportunity to really get involved, as I like to say.
Yeah, you do.
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to get involved now. I mean,
Well,
if you
plus
look at
I think what you were alluding to there, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what you were kind of driving towards, and I thought you were going towards, was well, now we're seeing the emergence of some purely world class spirits coming out of Africa. We got a lot of cool gins coming out of Africa now.
yep,
We got brandies have been a long time thing in parts of Africa
yep.
that have started to kind of peek their heads out into the global stage. So maybe this will spark interest in bartenders to travel to this place to get these spirits from where they're from and then bring
Oh
them
yeah,
back, right?
100%. And also, brands have been using ingredients from Africa in their spirits for a long time. I mean, just with my Bacardi hat on, Bombay Sapphire has used grains of paradise from Ghana for goodness knows how long. And, when you look at South Africa, for example, it has its own kind of fauna, which is known as, oh, God, I forget the name now. It's known as Fimbosh, which is its own fauna, which is basically herbs, spices, and roots that are indigenous just to the Western Cape. And you can see it in brands like Inverosh Gin. You've got Prosecco coming out of Kenya. I tasted this amazing rum, Elefante, which is yeah, exactly.
I've tried it.
Which is like, wow, okay, we're really making some great rums. And then even if you look at Rain Rum, Amma makes amazing rum in Ghana. It's called Rain, which is a luxury rum spirit. You have all the guys from Bayab Gin. Bayab Gin is another gin that I'm sure you've seen it.
We did an event at Amore with them a long time ago.
Exactly. So, I mean, even my creamer that I like to drink, Amarula with my coffee every other morning, that's really starting to grow. But
well, even you're here in Brooklyn with me and Greg, and Garrett Oliver, of course, has been over at Brooklyn Brewery for forever, and he just released Fonio, which is a grain that comes from Africa. His new beer,
Ethiopia.
Right, okay. But we're reaching out to the rest of the world, right? So I think this is amazing. I want you to dig a little deeper and tell us a little bit more about what goes on at Ajabu, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, you are. Ajabu.
I wrote it down phonetically so I could get it right.
Yes, correct. Ajabu actually is a Swahili word, and it comes and it actually stands for wondrous and amazing. And out of creating spaces where people can connect, collaborate, and create, you get some amazing outputs, right? So at the festival, we have, as I said, we have educational classes. We have brands like Diageo Bar Academy showing up, Campari Academy showing up to deliver sessions, and then we have our bar partners as well delivering sessions. Like came from Jigger and Pony from Singapore in November, and he delivered his creative process, which is an internal process that they developed with their team that he wanted to share with the community. And the beauty of the community as well is you get people from all over, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Kenya, and also the local South African and also Côte d'Ivoire and local South African bar community all coming together to hear all of these amazing pieces of knowledge and information from all of these different folks. And also, on top of that, we have pop-ups, which these pop-ups allow the local and the global bars to be able to create and collaborate and provide some really unique offerings for consumers. Aside from that, we are strong believers in supporting women within the industry. We want to see more women in the industry, and with that, we have a scholarship program which is sponsored by the WSET, and they donate, and other brands as well, and they donate sponsorships that we share across the continent for people who register for the scholarships. And with the beauty of having these scholarships in the education is it just grows people's confidence and understanding of the cocktail industry. And rising tide lifts all ships, right? And the more you can learn, the better. Each one teach one is one thing that I always like to say. And then with that as well, actually, we've been speaking closely with Steve Olson around trying to get Bar involved as well, which is one of the most in-depth sessions ever. I'm scared of it. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, that's a real commitment. You know, I know people that have come through it and they've tore their hair out, but they've all said that it's definitely been a platform that they've really appreciated. So yeah, speaking of Steve Olsen, the bar team to try and get them more involved. But those are the kind of things that are happening on the ground. And we're just intentionally as well going out of our way to make sure that we are including as many different areas of the hospitality industry as possible. There's a massive rise in tourism across the continent, and with that, a lot of the hotels, their offerings are definitely changing and upscaling. In that they're all looking for um, insights into what hospitality looks like and how it can grow within the hotel space. And someone like Leo Robichek recently came in March and delivered a session on the growth of hospitality within the hotel space for a lot of the beverage directors and the beverage managers in Cape Town and Joburg. And the beauty of that is, hey, come on, it's Leo Robichek. He ran a Nomad, and he still runs the Nomad, which has been an award-winning, has had an award-winning beverage program for generations.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about like what is the interest there, and obviously it's there. So like, I think that maybe the places that don't get enough attention, does it spawn from the fact that, like you just said, there's a lot of tourism there? Of course there is. Are the tourists that come there, are they the ones? Are they looking for a good cocktail, or are they just looking for, vodka soda?
No, they're looking for a good cocktail. They're looking. They are the fact that you've flown all the way
That's
around
what
the
I was
world.
thinking,
They're
right?
looking for something a little bit more interesting.
Right.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a vodka soda. Hey,
No, of course
I love
not.
vodka, right? But they're looking for something a bit more interesting, a little bit more intricate, a little bit more thought out, and they're looking for local flavors and local indigenous products as well with that kind of serve. So it could be a vodka and soda garnished with some fembosch from the Western Cape. I know
Right.
Kurt Schlechter, who owns Cause Effect, is very much about that and has been promoting that for such a long time. The guys at Fable as well have been doing that, and also all the guys at Drinkery and the other partners that we have. But on that as well, what I love is we see when the bars from other parts of the continent turn up as well in these collaborations.
Mm-hmm.
They bring their local indigenous ingredients as well. Like I love seeing when the guys from Kenya come, they'll sometimes bring a nice little coffee into their cocktails. The guys from Ghana will bring different kinds of peppers and spices and stuff to their cocktails. The guys from Cote d'Ivoire will bring a blend of like their juices that are just available, things like tamarind and stuff like that they use in their cocktails. And I think it's really appealing for someone who's traveling to South Africa or any part of the continent to really try something different. I believe that they're all looking for something different when it comes to their cocktails, even beyond the vodka soda.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I
There's
feel like
nothing wrong with that, but they're looking for something a little bit different.
yeah, I feel like the traveler who's going all the way to Africa is pretty elite, right?
Yeah.
So that's there's no supply without demand, right? So I think that the travel probably is what's coming in and creating a supply because they're kind of demanding this product, right? This level of production.
Yeah. And also, when it comes to traveling around Africa now, obviously, it's kind of, you mentioned it firstly at the top of the conversation. It's still quite expensive traveling across Africa. Sometimes it's actually cheaper to fly into Europe and then to fly into another part of Africa, or fly to Dubai and fly. Oh God, yes, it's so true. Sometimes you can fly from South Africa to Dubai to Ghana cheaper than you can from South Africa straight to Ghana.
Right.
It's just the way that all of the flights are scheduled, and there's those little barriers to people's movements, but all of that's changing. There's there's definitely more attention being paid to Africa now because apparently within the next 25 to 30 years, the majority of or the most densely populated places in the world will be on that western part of Africa. There's conversations around changing all of the road routes and stuff, the ground transportation to make it easier to move around the continent. The governments have already started talking around making it easier for people to cross across borders with visa restrictions being removed and stuff, which is really good for everyone. It's great for trade. It's great for people to move because, hey, when we get more migrations of people, the beauty of it is they bring new ideas and new ways of working and elevated ways of community, and hopefully they add more to the culture of the places that they come to.
I kind of love that, and I wanna ask sort of what the reception has been like of these tourists who are coming in and are seeing, like, you know, all of these developments, trying all of these like local ingredients. Kind of what is the, I don't know, very different. Obviously, but I remember when I was living in Scotland, people would always come and want to try like authentic Scottish food, and I would be like, what there's a chip shop down the street, I don't know what you're meaning. And people were always kind of like a little bit disappointed because it's British food, it sucks, but the flavors you're
Oh no,
talking
it
about,
doesn't.
oh come
Get
on,
out of
oh
here!
come on,
Get out of here!
like the Indian food in Britain is phenomenal. Like the Chinese food in Britain is phenomenal. Like British food is just they boil everything. I don't
Oh,
know.
come on,
Greg.
that was in the '60s, bro. That does not happen anymore.
Okay, all right. Well, counterpoint then. What are some of your faves?
My faves is when I'm actually in South Africa, for example. I absolutely love the it's a big grilling culture. They call it it's a grilling culture that they've actually developed over years, and we absolutely, whenever we go, we always have an opportunity to go to these places. They're known as braais. You go to a braai, you sit down with friends, you have loads of beers, and there are all these different meats and game and everything gets brought, and then you have the indigenous local what it is like it's local starch is called pap, which everyone loves. It's funny because we have a similar kind of thing in West Africa called fufu, which is what we have, and you have something here um, in America as well called grits. Is that same similar kind of texture, similar kind of idea of what it fills you up, but it's something that you grow up with as a kid. And
It's funny, you know. I lived in New Orleans, as you know, for a while, and
yeah.
obviously a lot of African influence there. And there's a common lunch that you eat. It doesn't really have a specific anything, honestly. It's called grits and grillade, which just means grits and grilled, right? So you get grits and something grilled.
Yeah, and basically that's like a braai. When you have a braai in South Africa, that is basically
I love
lots of grilling, lots of beers, and lots of camaraderie. And it normally happens, you know, over the weekend. Everyone's unwinding, and it's a great social occasion. There are many social occasions across the continent, and this is one that I really appreciate being involved in, and it's something that we introduce everyone to when they come to Ajabu. But then some of the takeaways that we've had from people, for example, is like Simon Ford came last November, and one of the things that he said was there's a wonderful thing happening in the hospitality world, and it's just great that Africa is at the heart of the conversation at the moment, and Ajabu is definitely helping to drive that optic. And the energy of Ajabu is, as he said, is spreading internationally, and is really providing an opportunity for people to connect. And he really loved seeing that. And when he came, he was really blown away by the excitement of what the possibilities are for the continent. And as he said, and I always like to say, Africa's now, right now.
Well, yeah, and
But,
that's why we have you on here. I would, I know we're coming close to the end of our time,
Yeah.
and it always goes too fast with you because you have so much to say, and you're such.
I'm sorry.
You're so no. It's
Yeah.
radio. It's radio. It helps if you have something to say. But you always have great stuff to say, and you say it so well. How there's plenty of advice out there about everything, of course. But there's a piece of advice that I've heard numerous times, especially in our world, but also in the world of just generally festivals, which is never start a festival. And here you are starting one. How are there some hurdles that you didn't foresee? And then obviously it's being well received so far. But what's the growth model, and how do you see it going? As we continue forward.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for asking the question. And yep, it's definitely it's been a labor of love. So it's definitely not felt as I've never looked at it as something which we're not in this for the fame, the glory, the money, or anything. I mean, obviously we're not going to necessarily make money because our vision for Ajabu is to provide a platform where people can come, as I said, to connect, collaborate, and create. But then also with that, we are really hoping that with the festival, and I advise everyone to start a cocktail festival. Actually, not.
Okay. Done.
Yeah, okay.
But no, if you have something to say, and if you really believe in your region and what you have to do, I mean, Jan McPherson, for example, just started his Edinburgh Cocktail Festival. He was with us in March. And I remember both of us talking about it, and I said, wow, good luck, my friend. And my guys in Ghana, from back, they started the Accra Bar Show last year. And, everyone knows it's not easy. But if you want to shine a spotlight on your community, it's the best way to do it, because you bring people together, and that's really important. And with that, actually, we're trying to do a pop-up at Tales at the moment. We're in the works of making that happen, to bring some bartenders from across the continent to pop up at Tales at a Cocktail, which is really important for us. When Eric came, Eric Van Beek, Handshake, he offered some of the Africa bars as well to come and pop up in his bar, Handshake, which is amazing for them. They really appreciate that gesture. I appreciated that gesture as well, and I think it's great for community. And also, you mentioned about starting a festival, not starting a festival. I think I take great joy in the fact that I've had the opportunity to be a part of this movement, and Ajabu being a festival that's kind of a vessel to bring the excitement that's happening on the continent to people. To the fact that if you look at all the Tales of the Cocktail nominations for international bars from Africa and the UAE, you'll see that over the last 2 years, there's been a massive growth in recognition of these bars on the continent, more so than the UAE, which far outspends all the bars in Africa because of the infrastructure that they have and the amount of the access to capital, which is a massive part of how you can develop your hospitality in your area. But against all of this, all of the bars in Africa are rising, and Africa Rising is a real thing. And we're looking to celebrate that at Tales at a Cocktail this year. So obviously, Souther and Greg, you have to come in a room and get involved.
Will do.
And then also with that, in November, we're going to have the November edition of Ajabu in South Africa, in Cape Town. And that'll be from the 18th to the 24th. And Souther, Mark and I hope that you'll be able to join us.
Let's
also
work something out.
the team from Rachel Harrison PR would
Love
hope
her.
that you can join in.
Yeah.
And get involved, bruv.
Well, listen, that's what I was about to say. Nothing cool is easy, Colin, and I know you know that, and I know that you've spent your career doing difficult things that were cool.
Yes,
right? So how
is this
can
the right thing?
Yeah. How can our listeners get involved, Bruv? Is there
Right.
is there somewhere to follow? Is there somewhere to maybe donate? Is there somewhere to just highlight and exalt and lift up?
Yes, there is. You can get involved. Thank you so much. By firstly, you can have a look at the website, Ajabu Cocktail Spirits Festival.com. You'll see on there you can donate towards scholarships for the bar community.
Awesome.
And also you can follow us on social, Ajabu Festival, and you'll be able to help us. You'll be able to help us grow. You can come to the festival. We're going to post the dates up very soon with hotel links so that you can then join in and book your hotels, book your flights, and come and get involved. If you wish to present anything at Ajabu, give us a shout. Let us know. And everything we do is for the community. And at the end of the day, as Mark and I keep saying to the community on the continent, hey, this festival is all for you. And we want to get to a point where we can literally just hand over the festival to folks on the ground and just go, here, this is your festival, you run it. That's what I'd love to see within the next 5 years.
Amazing.
That's amazing, man. Well, dude, thank you. Good luck with everything, first of all. And it's not a small task, but it sounds like one that is important and necessary. And I don't know. I'm excited to see it at Tails. I don't know if I can make it all the way to South Africa, but I'm excited to see it at Tails for damn sure.
Come on, Greg, you can do it.
Okay, all right. Okay, twist my arm. I'll do it. I'll be there. Well, that's going to do it for us this week on the Speakeasy. Be sure to check out Heritage Radio Network for plenty more great programs just like this one. And if you want more of this great program, just like this one, you can become a regular on our Patreon page. We are going to get bonus episodes, sponsor-free listening, guest recipes from every single guest we have on this show, and a free cocktail kit from our friends at Shaker and Spoon every single month. And be sure to tune in to us next week when we are going to have George Koutsakis. There we go. I did it. George Koutsakis from Barrel Global, which is a company that allows people to buy individual barrels and, I don't know, do whatever they want with them. I guess we'll find out. That's going to be next week. But until then, cheers, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Colin.
Cheers. Thank you.